Tonight, a rapist who targeted his victims on dating apps has been jailed for 8 years. James Clacker was caught in Spain after faking his own death and fleeing Scotland in a bid to escape justice.
Your flight abroad might be seen as a cowardly action. When you lost control of the consequences of your own conduct, you ran away.
One of Clacker's victims tells STV News she can finally sleep at night knowing he will be behind bars. Also making the headlines, the scandal hit PPE company linked to Michelle Mone is ordered to repay £122 million to the UK government. We go behind the scenes at Scotland's newest private hospital as more and more Scots are choosing to pay for medical treatment.
The waiting list in the NHS, is really, really bad. It was an 88-week for a consultation with a knee surgeon, then 4 years.
And in sports, Brendan Rodgers hopes the Celtic fans and the club's board can sort out their differences. I'm John Mackay. This is the STV News at 6. Good evening. A rapist who targeted his victims on dating apps, faked his death in Scotland and then fled to Spain has been sentenced to 8 years in jail. James Clacker from North Lanarkshire raped 2 women at their homes before he tried to evade justice by moving to the Costa del Sol, all while living under a fake name. One of his victims has told STV News she can finally sleep at night knowing he will be behind bars. A warning that Vanessa Taft's report contains details of sexual assault.
Ambushed by police. This is rapist James Clacker, on the run in Spain after faking his death in Scotland. But he wasn't dead. He was living under a fake name on the Costa del Sol. He used dating apps to prey on women like Elle, whose identity we're protecting.
I met James, also known as Jim or Jimmy, on Tinder.
Clacker came to Elle's home before a planned date. She immediately knew something was off.
As soon as he arrived at the doorstep, he leaned in to try and kiss me, and I put my hand up and said no. He then asked to use the bathroom. I now know that was for him to do a recce of my house. He came back downstairs. He was very close to me, uncomfortably close, and he raped me. You don't really believe it's happening to you. I started crying. I think he thought I was going to collapse because I was shaking so much. He stopped and then he pulled me towards him and he said, "I need a cuddle."
After this and another similar attack, the search for Clacker began when he left an apparent suicide note in an abandoned car in Araker. When he was traced in Nerja in Spain, he was brought back to face justice at Edinburgh High Court.
Good morning.
He was sentenced to 8 years behind bars.
Your flight abroad might be seen as a cowardly action. When you lost control of the consequences of your own conduct, you ran away. Your self-imposed exile in Spain exacerbated the ordeal for the complainers. They were faced with the prospect of proceedings coming to an end, reconciling themselves to that prospect, and then having to re-engage when you were found and returned.
After being handed his sentence, James Clacker appeared emotionless in the courtroom. Lord QB also placed him on the sex offenders list for life. Joining via video link, one of his victims told me that she can now sleep at night, knowing he's no longer going to be able to hurt anyone else.
I don't think you ever lose hope with these types of investigations. Clearly, as I say, he was a high-risk missing person and that's how he was treated. And we won't stop at anything until he's found. And that was the case with James Clacker.
Tonight, he begins his prison sentence for what the judge called his predatory and despicable behaviour. Vanessa Taft, STV News at the High Court in Edinburgh.
If you've been affected by any of the issues in that report, you can contact Rape Crisis Scotland. A company linked to the Glasgow-born businesswoman Baroness Michelle Mone has been ordered to repay almost £122 million to the UK government for breaching a contract to supply surgical gowns during the coronavirus pandemic. A High Court judge has ruled PPE Medpro, a consortium led by Ms Mone's husband Doug Barryman, could not prove the gowns had been sterilised. Ms Moan argued the ruling is an injustice and cover-up, but the Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, declared, "We are getting our money back." Our political reporter Laura Alderman has the details.
Businesswoman, entrepreneur and member of the House of Lords.
I, Michelle, Baroness Moan.
She made her fortune in the early noughties, pioneering her eye-catching lingerie range.
To marketing, to...
But in recent years, the bra tycoon has suffered a spectacular fall from grace. In the height of the pandemic, PPE Medpro, a company connected to Moan and led by her husband Doug Barrowman, was given contracts to supply gowns and masks to the NHS after she recommended them to ministers through the so-called VIP lane. The PPE was later found to be defective, and the government announced it was suing PPE Medpro for breach of contract.
Hi, Dad. Hello, Mark. Nice to see you again. And you.
Michelle, nice to meet you.
Nice.
All right.
In a glossy 2023 documentary produced by their own company, Moan and her husband claimed they were being made scapegoats for wider failings in the PPE procurement process.
Are you going to win?
Yeah, we will win, because we've done nothing wrong. And it's cruel and it's nasty, but we will win.
But today, Mrs Justice Cockerell took a different view, ordering the company to pay back nearly £122 million. Doug Barrowman described the ruling as a whitewash of the facts, saying they had proof the gowns were sterile and fit for use. Miss Moan took to social media, saying the case was too big for the government to lose, adding it was an injustice and an establishment cover-up.
Sit down now. Yes.
Those working on the front line during the pandemic say today's ruling only brings back traumatic memories of that time.
It was really difficult. Just suddenly overnight our usual supply lines were stopped. We even made visors ourselves. We felt very isolated, very cut off. And, you know, we were still ordering from Amazon, huge prices as well. The prices were horrendous. And that just makes me feel very sad that we were scurrying trying to get a box of gloves and others were making themselves very rich out of it.
Responding to today's ruling, the Chancellor posted online, "We want our money back. We are getting our money back. And it will go where it belongs, in our schools, NHS and communities." Now, the door could be opened for further criminal cases to be brought against the company, which has just 2 weeks to repay this monumental sum of money. Laura Alderman, STV News.
More and more Scots are choosing to pay for medical treatment rather than wait what could be years for surgery on the NHS. The ongoing backlog and lengthy waiting lists means private providers are seeing an increase in demand for their services. Our chief reporter, Sharon Frew, has gone behind the scenes at Scotland's newest private hospital to learn more about this shift in the healthcare landscape.
It's mid-morning. Theatre staff prepare for their second operation of the day.
So we'll set up a standard supine, 1 foot support, side support.
Most of the patients needing a hip or knee replacement have osteoarthritis, and the surgery at this private hospital is focused on getting them home as quickly as possible to help them recover, in some cases on the same day.
This might feel a little bit strange because we're going to start moving your leg around.
The patient on the operating table is 72-year-old John Mackay from Cumbernauld, a keen tennis player who's determined to stay on the court.
Sometimes my knee will give way a wee bit and I get pain in here under the kneecap, but it's not severe. I could get on with it, but I don't want to get on with it. I want it sorted.
We're seeing anyone from the early 50s right up until their mid-80s coming to this hospital, but it can affect people throughout their whole adult life, depending on the reason for their arthritis. The average age is around about late 60s, 69 for a knee replacement.
Elannic opened its new hospital in Glasgow city centre in February. Its operating theatres and 5-bed ward occupy the space that was once a former bank. And it's clear many of the patients coming through these doors have had to make tough financial decisions. Downstairs in outpatients is Maureen Higgins, exactly 2 weeks on from her knee replacement. The grandmother postponed her retirement to save for her surgery, but funding her operation wasn't her only challenge.
How much weight did you lose?
5.5 stone. 10 weeks before I was due to come in here, I had an extra £10 to lose, so that was, a shock. So I was on a mission. I was determined to get it done because the waiting list in the NHS, was really, really bad. It was an 88-week for a consultation with a knee surgeon, then 4 years. And just being able to walk without that excruciating pain, I just feel like a new person. I've now got a new wee baby granddaughter. I want to be able to take her out, push her in the pram.
Right leg, mark.
From scalpels to hefty power drills, the tools of this trade are extensive.
He's had x-rays and we know that, but now that we're in the knee we can see he's got full thickness cartilage loss on the inner aspect.
While there have been advances in robotics, this method of replacing hips and knees is the most common carried out both in the private sector and in the NHS. Within this sector, an uptake of medical insurance is another emerging trend, leading to an increase in private hospital admissions across Scotland. Ilanic and its larger competitors say they're open to providing support to reduce the NHS backlog.
We've done over 150 orthopaedic cases since March. The NHS is amazing at what it does. We're only a small fraction of offering a slight option for those that we're relevant for. We're here to support with either demand, and if we can be taking some small pressures off the NHS demand, that hopefully should allow quicker access for the people who really need to see the NHS in real time.
With the help from a physiotherapist, the first steps are taken just hours later.
That's looking good.
I was amazed when I came off the bed there that I could get so much bend in it.
Right, so take a wee pause there.
To get home, patients must pass the stair test, completed by John around 20 hours after his operation.
Right, stick. Good one. Perfect.
I can't believe it. Yeah, it's incredible. Colin said my kneecap was like granite. Did he tell you that?
We saw it.
It's amazing. Just the whole process is hard to believe. I just can't wait to do the other one.
And you can watch that full report on Scotland Tonight this evening at 10:40. A man has been charged after human remains were found on the banks of Loch Lomond last month. Officers investigating the death of Graham Wright confirmed a 53-year-old has been arrested and charged in connection with attempting to defeat the ends of justice and is due to appear at Glasgow Sheriff Court tomorrow. The death is still being treated as unexplained. A man has died after a lorry carrying a load of timber crashed on the motorway. A passing driver who narrowly avoided the incident caught it on their dash cam. The crash happened on the M8 in Glasgow around 5:30 yesterday evening, with a number of roads closed overnight. The 61-year-old driver of the vehicle died. Police believe he took ill behind the wheel. CalMax, Caledonian Isles ferry, has returned to service for the first time since January last year. Major faults were discovered when the vessel went in for its annual maintenance check. It had been due to carry passengers on the Ardrossan to Brodick route on a number of occasions, but each time further issues were identified. The political correspondent Ewan Petrie is in Ardrossan.
Well, this is a welcome sight for islanders on Arran as well as the town of Ardrossan. The Caledonian Isles is loading up for its first passenger service in 20 months. It was back in January last year that it went in for its annual maintenance check and simply didn't return. Major issues were found with the vessel. Then, time and again, it was scheduled to come back, but that was postponed as more and more issues were discovered. Passengers have had to travel to Troon to cross over to Arran. So today has been a long time coming for those looking to bring back the direct service from here in Ardrossan.
We've hardly been off the island, have we?
At least we can get off, we feel freed.
12 months before we.
Aye, and some bit.
Is that right?
Aye.
I can't remember.
It was really challenging being able to commute back and forward to see my family on Arran a lot more regularly than I wanted to. Getting to and from Arran, unfortunately with Troon, I just find that it's not quite as convenient as commuting via Ardrossan.
A lot of people from Arran use the shops and the dentists, etc. in Ardrossan, so it's going to make a big difference to them.
And how frustrating has it been for the past 20 months when it's not been in action?
Very, very frustrating, and the shops and the businesses are all suffering, and the tourism on Arran as well.
The repair bill for this vessel has reached almost £12 million over the past 20 months. CalMac is trying to get some of that money back from the shipyard in Merseyside, which carried out these initial repairs. But today they are relieved and welcoming the added capacity that this vessel brings to their fleet.
She's been great since she left Leith about a week ago. She's sailed around the top of Scotland. The MCA have been on board and signed everything off. So it really feels as though we're in a much, much better place than we've been before.
Negotiations have been ongoing for some time now between the Scottish Government and the owners of this harbour about a takeover. That would allow some major refurbishment to take place, meaning that the new vessels, the Glen Rosa and the Glen Sannox, could both sail from here. Businesses and islanders want that to happen, but today is a welcome step with the return of this vessel.
Well, Ronnie is standing by with the sport and the focus, Ronnie, on Europe.
It is indeed, John.
Your window to sport. C.R. Smith sponsors STV Sport.
Good evening. Brendan Rodgers hopes the Celtic fans and the club's board can find a solution to the current standoff, which will see a section of the support fall silent during tomorrow night's European tie against Braga. Celtic are aiming to build on an encouraging start to their Europa League campaign, and Rodgers says the players are fully focused on matters on the pitch. Jamie Bothwick reports.
On the big European nights, it's renowned as one of the most atmospheric stadiums in the world. But tomorrow, for the opening 29 minutes at least, sections of Celtic Park will be silent as swathes of the support protest against the board. Tickets for the match against Braga of Portugal are also yet to sell out.
Well, I think our focus is pretty much on the performance on the pitch. That is the only thing that we can control. You know, I really hope that the stadium is full, and because that's what Celtic is about for me. I suppose my message is probably for the longer term is that hopefully we can, both parties can sit down and respect the differences and find a solution so that we can all pull together again. And because that's what's always key here for Celtic. Until that happens, I need to manage the team to maximise what we can get out of the team, and knowing that the team will be very focused on getting the results that the club want.
The very fact that Celtic are running out in the Europa League and not the Champions League this season is fuel to the ire of many supporters. The Celtic players are determined to move past that disappointment and launch their bid to progress to the latter stages of the tournament.
That's certainly the aim. Anytime you put on a Celtic shirt, you're expected to win. Whether it's in Europe, whether it's in Europa League, Champions League, whatever it is, you're expected to win, and that's the expectations that we have for ourselves. So, like I said before, this is an extremely important competition for us.
Reo Hatate and Austin Trusty have returned to training and could feature in the matchday squad. Jamie Borthwick, STV Sport.
Well, Rangers are also in European action tomorrow, and Russell Martin hopes their late winner over Livingston can act as a springboard as they look to kickstart their Europa League campaign. The squad trained in torrential weather in Glasgow this morning before flying out to Austria as they face Sturm Graz, looking for their first points of the league phase. Now, after Craig Gordon's return from injury at Hearts, fellow goalkeeper Alexander Schwallow says quality competition between the sticks can help continue their positive start to the season. The German joined Hearts in the summer on a free transfer and has yet to concede a goal in his 2 games so far. He says having 42-year-old Gordon back in training has given everyone a boost.
Yeah, I think we have a lot of competition in the goalkeeping group. We are a big group, very experienced guys like me as well. Yeah, it's just good. I think we learn from each other. We have a good connection to each other, and we help each other. So we just try to push ourselves, push each other, and I think competition makes you better.
Now, stars of stage, screen and sport have descended on the home of golf for the Dunhill Links Championship. Celebrities alongside some Ryder Cup heroes have been getting in some final day's practice ahead of the event, which tees off tomorrow at the Old Course, Carnoustie and Kingsbarn. Stephanie Daly has been to speak to them.
The Dunhill Links Championship is where Hollywood meets the home of golf. And among the host of celebrities taking part this week, there's a number of sporting stars who are ready to make a name for themselves in golf. Andy, you're here at the home of golf, playing golf. How delighted are you to be taking part in the tournament?
Yeah, it's brilliant. I mean, I've not played any of the 3 courses, for, like the full 18 before, so yeah, it's a pretty special place to come and play and be around, you know, all the pros and stuff. It's a cool event. That's one of the things I'm loving about the sport, is that it's encouraging me to come up to Scotland more and, you know, go to places I've not really spent much time at. So yeah, very, very good to be here. And
finally, you're a competitive guy. You're going to be competing this week?
Well, I'll try and do my best. I'm not holding up many sort of hopes for, you know, winning the event, but I'll try my best.
And of course, it's not just celebrities that are here this week. Some of the world's top golfers have descended here, and some of them, well, what a week it's been for them. They're fresh from winning the Ryder Cup with Team Europe.
Whether it's a Ryder Cup year and I've been playing or not, I always love coming back, and I still dream of actually winning a tournament at the Old Course, and being on that 18th green have just not happened yet.
And it's not just here at the Old Course that the action takes place. The event will tee off at Kingsbarns and Carnoustie as well, when the championship swings into action at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Stephanie Daly, STV Sport, at the home of golf.
Your window to sport. CR Smith sponsors STV Sport.
Not a bad wee gig for Steph, us here, and she's up rubbing shoulders with the stars.
St Andrews, lovely place, it's not there.
Very much so. Sport tomorrow, all European action, folks. That's us.
Fine it was as well. Thank
you.
Aye, thank you.
It always is, folks.
Okay, let's go to Sean with the weather.
I'm on it.
Storm Amy is on its way, but you're hedging your bets. You can't tell us where it's going to land.
Don't you start. Don't start. Listen, there's a lot more consensus than there was yesterday. Now, have a look at this graphic. You might think otherwise. These are the potential tracks of Storm Amy. As she comes in, this is what the models are showing. Now, if she took that more southerly track, she would take her strongest winds in across likes of England and Wales. If she takes the more northerly track, it's going to be across the Northern Isles, the Highlands and also the Hebrides. John's saying we don't have a clue. However, we do, because the most likely outcome is that it'll be somewhere in the middle, and we'll get the strongest gusts of wind across much of the mainland and the Hebrides. We could get gusts of wind up to 70 to possibly even 90 miles per hour in places. Let's look at the forecast.
An icy start to the day will give way to a series of oohs and ahs. TUI sponsors STV Weather.
So by jinx, there's plenty going on in the next couple of days. Let's start off with the rainfall between now and Saturday. These are the sort of accumulations I'm expecting. That pink shade you can see, that's where we've got about 50 millimetres of rain between now and Saturday. The yellow shade over the higher parts of Mull, around the likes of Lochaber, and also around the Lorne area, Clyde, Muirshiel. Possibility of 70 to 100 millimetres of rain between now and the weekend. That rain just piles up through tonight, tomorrow, then into the weekend as well. If you popped out yesterday evening, I ended up going out with Harris for a little evening walk, and it was so mild, 14, 15 degrees. That's similar again tonight. Another mild night to come. Cloud, showery outbreaks of rain. I may hang on to that rain on and off through tomorrow. Possibility of some heavier bursts starting to develop during the afternoon. There's the bright colours coming back into Argyll and Bute, the Highlands, particularly wet here through the afternoon. Rain always remaining a wee bit more showery across likes of Lanarkshire, Glasgow and Ayrshire. And look at the temperatures. Overnight values 14, 15. Daytime values tomorrow 15, 16. We're just nudging up a degree or two. So no big shakes in the temperatures. Friday, more rain on the way, but this is the big story in town on Friday. It's Storm Amy out to the west of us. Now that pink shaded area shows us the possibility of gusts 60 to 70 miles per hour, even through parts of the central belt. The exposed areas even stronger in the northwest. More details online.
TUI sponsors STV Weather.
So 99% certainty.
99%, giving yourself some wriggle room. Aye, classic forecaster. That's it from all of us. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.